Hello and welcome to the Completely Biased Podcast. I'm Sean, joined with Trevor on our poker table. We have a nice, cool setup now. Not mic-wise, but if you look to our you can't see it, but when we look to our left, we see a giant screen where we have all these basketball stats, and basically it's just a computer hooked up to a TV.
I've turned this man cave into a really crappy studio.
Podcasting room.
It gets the job done.
It definitely gets the job done. But today, it's been 2 weeks of the season from today. So 2 weeks ago today it started. And I think we have enough. We've seen enough teams. We've seen enough of each team to kind of rank them. So we're going to do a power rankings. We might do this monthly or weekly. Probably not weekly since, not much changes in a week in basketball. But so probably more like a monthly thing from here on out is we'll do power rankings, the top 10 teams. And wow, doing this top 10 ranking was hard, Trevor.
It's extremely hard, especially given that everybody or all the top teams that we expected just to dominate early in the year have not been that great.
So Cleveland is if you've been living under a rock, Cleveland is 3-4, 7 games this season.
They've lost 3 in a row. Yeah. And honestly, the teams they beat aren't that good.
And the teams they lost to are really bad. So I mean,
they barely escaped the Bulls.
Yeah.
So that
they didn't escape the Knicks.
They've been bad. We obviously Oklahoma City. They were 2-3. They won their last game. But
Oklahoma City has like a excuse. They added 2 giant stars, and they're still 3-3 at least. They're still 500. When was the last time you saw a LeBron team under 500?
I didn't do that a couple years ago when they were like hovering 500, and LeBron was like, "I'm going to flip the switch." Or whatever.
But like it's weird though because like looking at his stats. He's still shooting a really great percentage. He just seems like he might not care or something.
That's what I was getting. He doesn't look like he cares.
Because he doesn't. He's not going out there and dominating, which he still could. He's still shooting a great percentage. He's just like, all right, Kevin Love, you go ahead and shoot 5 for 15 and get 20 points, and I'll shoot 8-9 shots and get 16 points. Which when was the last time you saw LeBron get under 20 points 2 games in a row?
Yeah, it's probably been a while.
Yeah, like that in itself is a feat. And then the fact that he also lost 3 games in a row to bad teams.
It's kind of funny because we always kind of call LeBron James the point guard. And since he's been the point guard, they've lost 3 games in a row.
They've been... Derrick Rose has been there for the Brooklyn and the New York loss. So
that's true, but he's kind of hobbled. He's playing on minutes restriction.
But not what I was expecting from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just, I thought they were going to be actually... a better regular season team with the pieces they added because I thought they got way more depth and stuff. It just has not worked out for them yet.
And their defense just stinks.
Yeah.
It just plain stinks, which is sad or weird given that they added Jay Crowder, who's like a really good defensive player.
Maybe it wasn't really Jay Crowder being a really good defensive player. It was because if you look at Boston, like after those first 2 games, they've kind of like nothing happened. They only retained 4 players from the roster last year and only 1 starter, and it just seems like they're clicking already. 7 games this
credit
season.
to Brad Stevens.
I know, for real.
Coach of the Year, or early Coach of the Year candidate.
You hear that, Ty Lue? That's the difference between a good coach and, you.
Ty Lue's not a coach. LeBron's the coach. Ty Lue's a puppet.
Anyways, we're going to get right into our top 10 power rankings. I'm going to throw it over to Trevor to give us... You want to go from worst to best or best to worst?
We'll start best to
worst?
Yeah.
All right, so go with your number 1 team.
I'm going to stick with Golden State. I know...
They have 3 losses already.
I know they have 3 losses. They're still Golden State. Draymond Green was suspended for a game, so that probably hurt, but...
And they've lost to some, like, quote-unquote, good teams.
Yes.
We don't know if they're going to end up being good. They lost to Detroit and Memphis. Memphis looks like they'll be okay.
Well, they're both good, really good defensive teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Golden State has always... I don't want to use the word struggled against good defense, but good defense has always given them some trouble.
And it seems like they did blow out the Clippers last night, but that was the first blowout they really had all year.
Yeah, but they always blow out the Clippers.
Let's
be honest.
They do. Which, much props to the Clippers. The Clippers looked really, really good, too.
They do.
They had a rough last 2 games, but before then they looked pretty good. And so you're sticking with the Warriors even with the 3 losses?
I just cannot not take a team with Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green.
I know, but they just kind of looked out of sync and not the same defensively.
They're not the same defensively, but I think that's them just kind of getting somewhat apathetic. I think really, I think they're going to flip it on to. I don't think they care about winning regular season games anymore. They're just trying to get to
Guess what, guys?
Get to June or May and June.
They're not going to win 79 games this season.
No,
they still have a chance, but they're probably
they
not
might not
to.
even win 70, dude. I think I'm going to miss on the over under.
Yeah, we were both like, wait, oh yeah, that one's 70 easy. Their over under, I think, was 67.
Yeah, I think 67.5. But the other thing is, people are gunning for them now.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, we're just going to fold over because the Warriors are in town.
So before we get on to the rest of the list, I just want to ask a quick question. Not really pertaining to the top 10, but how surprised are you at the level of play from the Eastern Conference?
It's kind of shocking that a lot of them have winning records.
Well, no, because even it's not that they just have winning record. They've been going to the West and winning.
I think a lot of the West is. It's kind of funny. It's it feels like the Western Conference has gotten a little soft because they have so many Eastern Conference players now.
But you got teams like, we'll get to them later in the list, but Orlando and Detroit that have been amazing, and both of us kind of wrote them off earlier, over and unders, and especially Orlando. No one thought Orlando was going to do anything, and they've shown that they can play with the best of them. They've beaten the Spurs. What other big ones do they have?
Orlando?
Yeah.
They beat Cleveland.
They beat Cleveland, Spurs. And Detroit beat Golden State.
I think those teams like Orlando and Detroit, they're playing tough. They don't seem like they're just folding over. And I feel like a lot of these Western Conference teams are just don't have as much heart. I mean, we were talking earlier about Minnesota and Karl Anthony Towns. He's not playing any defense at all. Yeah. And it just feels like these Western Conference teams we're so good we don't have to do much. And the Eastern
the Eastern Conference teams are more hungry.
They are. They're hungry. They want it because they're being
and it's still early in the season, so let's not overreact to Orlando Magic are in the finals. No, they're not. they might still not even make the playoffs. I mean, teams go through these amazing starts. You saw the Lakers last year.
Yeah, it happens.
And but anyways, moving on. So you had the Golden State Warriors sticking with number one. Mm-hmm. I went with a different pick just because since their first two games of the season, they looked really, really good and a lot better than I thought they would look so early in the season, especially since how much change they've gone through. And I went with the Boston Celtics at the number one spot. They just look the most cohesive to me, especially now that Kyrie and Al Horford are really figuring out how to play together. And it looks like they actually have a really, really good chemistry going on.
Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
I mean,
so Kyrie Irving driving kick to Al Horford, that seems deadly. And they had a kind of, like I said, they had a rough start to the season. They lost the first two games, but they've won 5 since. And it's tough to say. They played the Milwaukee Bucks twice. They played Cleveland once. They beat the Spurs, so that's a good team that they've beaten. They beat the Bucks one of the times they played them. But so they beat the Heat. They've beaten the 76ers, which have looked better than I thought they would look. But they haven't really played top level competition yet. Mm-hmm. They haven't played the Golden States of the world or the Orlandos of the world.
Orlando, yeah. That's top competition right there.
They have the wins against the Spurs, Bucks, and Heat, which were supposed to be playoff teams this year. So
yes. They look good. They look like they're ready to kind of, I mean, it's funny, they look like the most in-sync team.
Yeah, I know, which is crazy because they are only returning 4 players from last year. That's why I put them in the top spot, just because they have so much more room to grow, too. And Kyrie Irving really started off on a bad foot offensively. And now he's kind of picked up his shooting. He started off really, really bad percentages, not shooting well.
And I think it's good for him that he has some other people to take the load off.
Exactly.
I mean, Jaylen Brown's made a big jump.
And
Al Horford looks good.
Yeah, Al Horford's been really, really good since the first 2 games of the season. Mm-hmm. The first 2 games, you could tell it was a brand new team.
Right.
But after that, it just kind of, everything fell together, and it's kind of crazy how fast that happened. But I think I've seen enough to say that Kyrie can definitely run a team by himself. Be the point guard of a team. I know that was a lot of people's doubts. It's like, can Kyrie really be the point guard, the distributor? And it seems like he can.
We'll see. Again, we're only 7 games into the year.
I know, but like, he doesn't take stupid shots. He's not like me.
No, he's a great player. I'm not denying that. And he's looked like he's tried to take the reins, which is really good. I just honestly, if they go up to Cleveland in a game 7, is Kyrie gonna like just take over a game?
I mean, you've seen flashes of him earlier this season already, where he's like, okay, we need a bucket right now. I'm gonna go get that bucket. Yeah, he's been really. I think he's been really, really good. Despite his only 21 average, I think he's been efficient.
I think he has. I also, it's Halloween. I mean, let's wait till April.
Usually the season starts today.
Yeah, let's wait till April and we'll see.
All right. Well, moving on to my number 2, I had the Golden State Warriors just because I'm not going to put them any lower than 2. There's no chance of that ever happening unless they lose the next 4 games or whatever. Yeah, but tried and true Golden State Warriors. I really can't say much. They've had a rough-ish start to the season. Their offense is still great. Stephen Curry is still playing like an MVP.
It's just the defense.
It's just their defense.
And I think that's heart, really.
Like you said, all of the Western Conference kind of feel like they're not trying as much. And that's the same with Golden State. They just seem like they're not selling out on defense as much as they were, and maybe they are going to coast more than we thought to the playoffs. And once the playoffs start, you never know. Like, they might be able to turn it on. I always get nervous with teams like saying they're going to coast and then turn it on in the playoffs, because you need that repetition. You need that, that rhythm to be able to turn it on. If you're not selling out and working on defense during the season, your defense is going to stay bad, and even in the playoffs. Yeah, even you're like, we're great players, we're going to turn it on. Yeah, you can turn it on, but you're out of reps. Like, this is all this game is reps. So. Right. But yeah, my Golden State at number 2 for me. I've got kind of a shocker for most people. But what's your number 2?
Yeah, I've got Memphis Grizzlies. They look good. They look really good.
They looked really, really good to start the season, but then some of my fears came in for them, like what I was thinking when I said they weren't going to make the playoffs. And I still actually kind of think they might not make the playoffs. I don't know if Marc Gasol and Mike Conley can carry their team offensively through the season.
I think they're going to get some help. I think Tyreek's, he's not back, but he looks pretty good.
Because they lost to Dallas one game, which is the worst team record-wise in the NBA. Mm-hmm. They're a nice 1-7. Yeah. But and then the next game, they did Dallas on a back-to-back. They beat Dallas, or they lost to Dallas 103-94, and then they almost lost to Dallas again.
But they didn't.
Because of my things, Mike Conley and Marc Gasol did not play particularly well in those games. And if those guys aren't playing well, you're not winning. Memphis Grizzlies are not winning.
I understand that, but they're going to play well most of the time.
Yeah, but are they going to play well most of the time?
They've beaten the Rockets twice.
They have. But the Rockets have I have my own issues with the Rockets.
They've beaten the Warriors. They beat the Pelicans. I don't know if that counts as anything. And, they lost to a pretty good Charlotte Hornets team. It's not like the Hornets are terrible. So,
no, it's just do they have the offense? They're a really, really good defensive team that always will be. But do they have the offensive firepower to go up against these teams later in the year?
They're not going to win the NBA Finals, but they're going to get to the playoffs because they're going to beat up on bad teams pretty easily, and they're going to give good teams a run for their money. That's what they're going to do.
I don't know. I see more teams coming up and taking spots away from Memphis, and I see Memphis holding on.
We'll see on Wednesday night when they face the powerhouse Orlando Magic.
Yeah, I love that phrase now.
We'll know more then. I got at number 3. I put the Clippers. I'm just gonna eat my words on that. They look.
Our lists are very similar, one off.
Yeah, the Clippers look good. That's all.
They had the last rough 2 games, and Blake. Another question for me is, can Blake really carry a team throughout an entire season? Because he started off the season great, and it's only 7 games a season. Don't get too hung up on some of these stats and some of these numbers. But the last 2 games that they lost, it's kind of the same thing. He didn't score 20 points, and they lost both games. Yeah. So it's if they don't score.
To be fair, I think they're allergic to beating Golden State.
That's true.
They don't. they never seem to have a chance. And Golden
And
State always seems to drop like